Alrighty, everyone, we are back. Again, thank you so much for sticking around with us today. We are on our last run of the... We're back with Ozmourn and Superliminal. The run featured GDQ, so you know it's good. I don't know if that's true, but it might be. But it is good. It's a great speed run. I have seen Oz do it before, and it's cool. So, Oz, take it away and bring us to the end of the night.
Thank you so much, Octini. Hello everybody. Once again, my name is Ozmourn, and this is my main speed game, Superliminal. It's a game I absolutely love. If you're wanting to speedrun more of the games that I speedrun, this game is probably a more approachable style. Manifold Garden, super abstract, super glitch heavy. This run that I'm going to be showing you is a little bit glitch heavy, but we do have a much more beginner friendly category if you're willing to try out a game like this. And this is all collectibles. What that is we're going to be collecting a series of specific things, chess pieces, constellations, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, and blueprints. All of those sound really weird out of context. It's a very weird assortment of things, but it's going to make more sense as we get into the run. We have to reset achievements and tracked items. That is an in-game thing that we can easily do, thank goodness. As you can see, there's a little gray bar at the bottom of each level, and at the end of the run we're going to be checking these because that's where we're going to be seeing all of the different collectibles that we collect. And so right now we're going to start at level 1, induction. Timing doesn't begin when we enter the first level, but rather it'll begin when we walk through the first door. But the first thing we're going to be doing is actually turning the speedrun timer on, because that'll allow us to see what the IGT is, and the IGT like removes loads and stuff like that, so that's really nice. And so resume game. We're going to sign the terms of service for good luck, and then we're going to walk through this door in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So in Superliminal, perception is reality. What exactly does that mean? Well, it means that you can essentially make objects as big or as small as you perceive them to be, and mechanical to do some really wacky glitches, like this one right here. Right there is something known as a rook launch, or an out of bounds launch is the common name, but that one specifically is done with a rook, so we call it a rook launch. And it does pretty much exactly what you think it does. It launches you out of bounds. The reason that works is because I made the object really big. And I made it so big to the point where there's essentially no space between me or the object. There's no space. Oh, wow. What? Do I want to say that's ever happened before? Because it might have, and I just forgot, but I don't remember that ever happening before. That was interesting. I did not know you could fall through that. But we're going to try that again. Because unfortunately we didn't actually collect any checkpoint between now and then, but thankfully we're able to get it again first try. And we're launched out of bounds. There was no space between me or the object, and there was no space between the object or the ceiling, and we're essentially just launched so high up in the air because the game saw that me and the object were sharing the same space, and the game did not like that. The game doesn't like it that me and the object are sharing the same space, and so what it does is it gets rid of one of these objects. It gets rid of either me, or like it's going to get either get rid of me or the chess piece. And since I was the smaller object, it's just going to get rid of anything that's like the path of least resistance, and in that case it was me, so it launched me out of bounds instead of the object. And we're going to be seeing a lot of variations of that throughout the run, but the rest of induction is pretty much just normal. It's like normal movement and mainly glitchless stuff that we're going to be seeing. But sometimes the game likes to line this up perfectly for us. For example, this room right here, where we can realign this sign, resize it against that door in order to make it large enough to hit both buttons at the same time, opening both sides up. And this last room has a strat called dairy free, in which we press down on that button, which causes this door that is scripted to fall down when we do that. And if you push open the door before it finishes falling down, you can actually push it out of the way. Because any object that is moving has its like physics unlocked, and you're able to like manipulate that object. A little bit of a level geometry just juts out of that wall over there, so we can use it to jump across here and grab another blueprint. The reason that last strat is called dairy free, by the way, is because the intended way to like get through that door is taking a a like slice of cheese that you see through the door, through the wall, and using it, making it really big and knocking the doors down. And so that's it's dairy free because you don't use the dairy. So now we're going to go straight into optical, and as the name implies, it's like all about optical illusions and such. We're going to get we're going to do some extra stuff before we really get into that mechanic. However, you can see here that I'm collecting what's known as minor collectibles, aka the fire extinguishers and the fire alarms. You kind of have to go out of your way to get them sometimes, and maintaining like your momentum or your movement while actively going out of your way and doing a lot of like motion mouse controls with all of these, it's like difficult to do sometimes. It's a source of a lot of people's time loss, especially when you're a beginner in this game. And we're going to be vaulting around and grabbing one blueprint. That's our first blueprint of the run. The blueprint kind of just like, you can just see, it just shows you like the building of like specific levels and stuff like that. And thank you. We're going to be collecting this fire alarm. And then we stared at the wall at a very specific angle, which allowed the painting of this cube to turn into a real cube. We're going to be leaving this cube right here, and we're going to go out of our way to get one more fire extinguisher and fire alarm. And we're going to be using a mechanic known as boxing. It's essentially just you take the box underneath you and you jump with it by like jumping and then resizing it by clicking twice. It's like as easy as it sounds, and it's originally intended to be like an intended mechanic, but the devs decided it was too complicated for like a casual viewer to enjoy. And right there, what you just saw me do was another type of launch. Essentially, what I did was I made the object incredibly big, and then I turned it into myself. And you saw that the object disappeared for a moment, and during that, when it disappeared, I turned it into myself, and I made the object so big, it was bigger than the itself. And I was kind of inside the object, and so when I let go of the object, I got lowered. However, conveniently, there is since the object is bigger than the level itself, it touches the deletion plane underneath each level, where if an object goes out of bounds, it immediately gets deleted. So that makes it very convenient for us. In this next section, we're going to be box jumping with this cube, and then we're going to be doing another launch similar to the one we did at the beginning of the game, in which we're going to be jumping up through these vents. There, excuse me. I don't like how this game is being mean to me right now. There we go. Perfect. Oh, not perfect. Okay, yeah, this is finicky sometimes. There we go. Perfect. What we want to do. We want to get on top of these vents because at the end of this section, we see this guy. A chess piece. So we collected 2 chess pieces already in this level. And so we're going to be collecting a few more stuff at the very end of this section. And we can just take a little bit of a relaxation through this catwalk right here. And we're going to be collecting a few more fire extinguishers. But before we do that, we're actually going to be just, grabbing the moon, as one does. And we're going to be grabbing a this guy right here, and we're also going to be grabbing this. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Excuse me. We want to grab this soda can right here. Perfect. So we want this soda can, and right here we also grab the exits. We're going to need this for later. More specifically, we want to use this soda can. We're going to resize it again by using a same out of bounds launch similar to what we did at the beginning of the game, but this time with the soda can. And before we launch, we're going to grab this guy, and boom. As soon as we launch up, the soda can launches us out. And we're going to grab that blueprint, and we're going to go to this hallway. Every hallway like this kind of has a fire extinguisher and a fire alarm in it, and the majority of the levels are going to end in this like section right here. So unfortunately, that mistake at the beginning of the run did cost us a bit of time, but hopefully we can make that up in these next few levels. Right here, we're going to be going straight into cubism. Cubism is a very interesting level, and of course, it's, as I said, cubes. And one thing that I forgot to mention was another collectible that we saw earlier, but we're going to collect another one of right now. It is the constellations. The constellations room, such as this one right here, you're going to be casually, you're supposed to look at a cluster of stars and just try and make a constellation out of it until something like this appears. However, you just look at it at the very right angle, and then as soon as the hand appears, you click it, and then as soon as it turns, you can see it turn into like a physical object, and the stars fade away. You can just leave, and that's how you know it's collected. And right after that, we can just go straight into the real meat and bones of cubism. And ironically, though, the first puzzle of cubism does not involve any cubes at all. After this section, where we can just jump on that pole to get to this next area. Ooh, wait. Ooh, no, I forgot a collectible right here. Perfect. You don't want to forget a collectible in this game. And so we're going to turn around, and we're going to get a chess piece through that vent, because for some reason you can just grab it through the vent. I do not know how you're supposed to get it casually, because I never did. And I'm going to be lining this guy up right here, and we're going to be collecting one more fire extinguisher and fire alarm, and then we're just going to go out of bounds, like, excuse me, like that. Perfect. And that's what we grabbed this cube for. We can use the platform to get up here. Essentially what that out of bounds is just it was known as a vault clip. It's a little bit of level geometry that juts outward and allows us to perform a ledge grab animation onto it. However, conveniently, during the ledge grab animations of this game, the game does not check for collision, and so you can just ledge grab and go through any wall with that. And in a few other categories, it's done pretty prominently. Right here, we're going to be using these cubes that you think are going to be normal, but then you can turn into like several different sides of cubes. And then you use this corner cube to jump up, collect a few more stuff, and we're going to be using this this cube to perform an launch, like so. And as I mentioned, the warp launches, when you turn the object into yourself, it becomes bigger than the level itself, and when you let go, it gets deleted. However, you don't really have like a real idea of what that is, or like what that looks like, or what that means until next level, in which we're going to be performing a very specific warp launch that will quite literally change how the entire level looks, because of the object that we use to warp with. But now we're going to go into the fourth level of the game, known as Blackout. And in this level, there is a very specific glitch that we're going to be doing. However, before we get into the real meat and bones, we need to get another consolation. Octini, if you wish to say some things, now would be a good time.
I always want to say things. I just like hearing the sound of my own voice. For anyone who maybe has not been here for the rest of the day, and you have not heard this yet, we are raising money for RIPDebt23, which is an organization that purchases medical debt from insurance companies at steeply discounted rates, which is something that for-profit collection agencies do. If you have medical debt that's been sent to collections, that's what that means. But RIP Medical Debt, instead of then hounding people to pay that debt, just throws it in the trash, makes it go away, and it is eradicated. So what that means, though, is for every dollar donated to RIP Medical Debt through this event or in other ways, $100 in debt is eliminated, because that is how cheaply they are able to purchase it. Which means the $513 that we have raised to this point in our event translates to $51,300 in debt eradicated, which is going to help a lot of people. I would love to see that number go up. So if you are able to donate even a little bit, has a humongous impact for a lot of people out there. So please consider donating. Please consider sharing this event and this community with those you know who might think that this is a good cause. And thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Octini. So we already got through a lot of the standard movement sections of Blackout, but now you saw that I clipped this canister through 2 barriers. I'm using the door and one using myself. And we want to, for a very specific reason, we want to perform a warp launch right here with the canister. Sometimes this warp launch can launch you really, really high, but thankfully we got an optimal one that just lands you right here in the center. And we're going to be using this warp launch in order to grab this sign right here. And surprise, surprise, we're actually going to be using this sign right here to perform another warp launch. But this warp launch is pretty different. It actually has a name. It's called Redout. This level is called Blackout. But with this sign, interestingly enough, the object, as I said, the object becomes really big and then it gets deleted immediately. But the volumetric lighting of the object stays for some reason. And so now the entire level is in light, and if you go out of bounds and like no clip, you can see like the center of the volumetric lighting. It's a very huge, like, seizure inducing flashing lights warning, but we're not going to be seeing that today. I'm going to be collecting one blueprint through here by just moving my cursor around and getting it right there. You can just barely sign it, so you don't have to like go all the way around. And now we are going to get one last major collectible, I should say. And we're going to use the can of beans, and we're going to launch with it because, you know, what else would you do with a can of beans? And now we're going to make it really big, push it into ourselves, and launch it like that, collecting this chest piece right here. And now we're going to go straight to the end of the level. And once again, it ends in this hallway section in which we are going to be collecting one fire extinguisher and one fire alarm. But yeah, the main basics of that level that we just saw was actually turning the whole perception is reality motif into like more metaphorical sense. The shift of the level is supposed to change into like a horror tone to trick the player, essentially. And what it does is that it kind of just shows you that the level is only as scary as your mind perceives it to be because you're in no real danger. And so, as you can see, it turns that motif that we've seen and puts it on its head a bit. Right here, we're going to a few more fire extinguishers in this beginning area of a level known as Clone. However, ironically, the first puzzle that you have does not require you to clone anything. It isn't until this next room in which cloning things is a requirement. And we're going to change the radio station to radio station 5. And as you can see here, every time that I touch an object now, it will just clone. You can clone an object up to a maximum of 100 times. And because of that, you can actually, this actually also applies to fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers actually have an infinite grab distance in clone, and so you don't have to like walk up to them in order to activate them. And right here, we're going to be performing something called a jump launch. Conveniently, in this level, it's actually the only level you can look all the way down in. And because of that, it allows us to perform a very specific glitch known as a jump launch, because we're able to look all the way down and jump and let go of the clock that we cloned. And that allows us to just launch ourselves upwards like so. And as you can see, the rules for cloning some objects are very different. They're inconsistent in the sense that each puzzle kind of works differently. A lot of the puzzles, a lot of times you can see like when I clone an object, it just falls to the floor, like this red apple right here. It'll just fall to the floor the moment that I clone it. However, you saw in the green apple room, I was able to physically pick up the object and move it, and only when I dropped it and picked it up again did it clone. We as speedrunners obviously know which rules apply to which objects, and so it's not really much of a problem for us, but casually, it might be a little bit disorienting seeing your first time around. Going out our way to collect one more chess piece, and once again, just being able to clone these guys right here. Have it drop down, being able to grab them. And when you press right-click in order to bring all the clones back to their original position, they don't have collisions, you can just walk through them. We're going to collect this checkpoint, and we're going to walk all the way back, and we're going to be collecting one more constellation. Can you guess what it is? If you can guess what it is, you get 17 brownie points. The brownie points don't mean anything. You don't get anything from them. You just have them for fun. If you guessed Dream Soda Vending Machine, you would have been right. All right. Now we're going to reset the checkpoint that we got earlier. And we're going to be collecting this fire extinguisher thing, or fire alarm right here, and that fire extinguisher right here. And whoa, that fire extinguisher is already pulled. What happened there? Did we cheat? No, we didn't cheat. We didn't like set up a file where that was already pulled or whatever. It's because this level is broken. And you actually probably saw me skip at least 1 or 2 fire extinguishers that I should have pulled, but I didn't. The reason being is because, for whatever reason, there are 3 pairs of fire extinguishers, so 6 fire extinguishers total, that are linked to each other, and so when you pull one, the game also pulls the other. We do not know why this happens. It is a bug that we have reported to the devs, and they have not fixed it yet. For the speedrunning experience, it's great, but for casual experience, it might be a little bit weird. And so we've bug reported it, but it's convenient for us since we don't have to go out of our way to collect a bunch of other fire extinguishers. But right here is another consolation as we enter the next level, Dollhouse. If you can guess what this one is, you get like 5 points because it's pretty easy to guess. It's a chair. All right, and as soon as it turns solid, we can just keep walking. And we're going to go into Dollhouse, which is arguably pretty tough. It's a pretty tough level in the majority of speedruns, more so in glitchless than anything. There's a theater room in there, but you know we don't have time to watch movies. We already do. And each level, I forgot to mention, starts with this like lobby area in which we can collect another fire extinguisher and fire alarm every single time. And now we're going to get into a new mechanic that is introduced in Clone, and that is resizing the portals you walk through, or resizing the buildings you're walking into. As you can see here, we're resizing this. Oh, I forgot to grab 2 collectibles here. I love forgetting things. There we go, perfect. And so hopefully I don't forget any by the end of the run. I'm surprised I haven't already. And right here, I'm going to, you can see that I resized the dollhouse again to make it bigger, or in effect, make myself smaller. And the reason that that's like a finicky mechanic is because, especially like when you're doing it in a speedrun, if you it's very precise in a lot of cases. You know, the bigger that you make the dollhouse that you walk through, the portal you walk through, smaller you become, and if you do it too big, you're going to be moving really slowly. However, you make the portal too small, you might not be big enough to enter the other side of the portal, make it to the other side of the portal, which usually requires you to be a bit smaller or a bit bigger, depending on the puzzle itself. We're going to be going through this portal right here, perfect, by going through that window. And this is another trick that I discovered, in which if you go through this portal, it's supposed to normalize you back to size 1, and you walk through and walk back out. Everything in the previous room turns smaller and just creates less walking distance. We're going to be grabbing this guy right here, and we're going to be resizing it and using it as a platform to get up here. To grab that guy right here. Perfect. That blueprint. And then we're going to have a specific lineup for this bouncy castle, so that as soon as we walk into this room, we can just jump, let go of it, and walk through this portal. And we're going to be using this bouncy castle and resizing it right here, putting it on that diving board so we can get up to the end of the level. Grabbing one more fire extinguisher, a few more actually, before we get into this last room. And here's a skip known as Arc Skip, because it was found by our community member Archmage, in which you actually take this and put it out of bounds, and it allows you to get into this last room and be very, very big, and collect that last blueprint with ease. The intended way of doing that is very long and very tedious. So thankfully, you were able to put really small objects out of bounds in ceilings. And since we put a portal out of bounds, we were able to walk the portal. And conveniently, that portal just allows us to drop into the final room and collect the final blueprint and then leave the level. And so now we are going to go into Labyrinth. And the Labyrinth is like the... again, I almost forgot things. It's the longest level in the game, casually speaking. Actually, no, that's a lie. The second longest longest level, casually speaking. But in this specific speedrun, it is the longest level that we're going to be seeing. Because usually, you in other glitch categories, you can just finish this level immediately, but that's not the case here. Only because there's collectibles we have to collect. Shockingly, could you believe it? And so right here, we're going to go through here, and you're going to be seeing me do what seems like meaningless parkour. However, one thing that's important to keep in mind is that activating audio triggers throughout this level, and the audio triggers that I'm activating actually work on a queue, and so they're going to start one after another. There's 5 audio triggers total. We managed to skip 2 of them. We know how to like not activate 3 of them or skip 3 of them, but only skipping 2 of them actually saved any time. And so you saw me physically jump over the audio triggers, and so we were able to get to the last audio line as fast as possible. And the last audio line just allows us to immediately get to the end of the level, or get to the end of that section and get teleported to the next part of the level where we can progress. And we're going to fall down here, and we're going to grab 1 more fire extinguisher in this cafeteria area. And you really want to make sure you get it now, because you really can't like get it later. Like, this is one you can pretty miss. Here's a frame perfect trick. Get it? Because we perfectly went through the frame. Chat. And right there is like another example of that whole hallway, like looping hallway section. Like, that's a good example of just like, you want to keep your momentum going while also collecting a bunch of collectibles. Right here is a trick that I'm really hoping I get first try, because I'm horrible at the backup for it. Oh, I have to use the backup for it. Well, maybe it won't be that bad. Ooh, come on. There we go. Okay, that should work. That should work perfectly fine. We're gonna go in here. Perfect. And we're gonna be collecting this guy. Usually, as you saw, I was launched upwards. I just want to make sure. I was launched upwards by the door when it fell down. And if you time your jumps correctly, you can actually get into that little sideways door without having to turn the door into a ramp, which is convenient and nice. Right here, we're going to be, ooh, look at that, corner jump. Sometimes based on your FPS, that will launch you really, really high, but we limit it to 60 FPS for various reasons in this run. And so right here, Labyrinth, it's all about subverting your expectations. Like so, did you really expect that we were going to walk up the stairs like normal people? No, we're going to fall down the stairs, fall down the floor with the stairs. It's a lot of technicalities. Right here, what I'm actually going to be doing is the hardest puzzle in the game, casually speaking, because there's kind of a lack of direction here as to what you're supposed to do. You're going to be seeing me look the opposite direction of where the sign is, and because whichever way you look first, that is where the stop, do not enter sign is going to be. And then the second way that you look is the door, and you always want the door to be facing the same direction as the arrow. And right here, we're going to be using another type of launch, which is called a slide launch, in which you slide essentially just like as it sounds, you slide this cube against the wall and then push it into the wall, and then it gets pushed back out and launches you up. We're gonna be just putting that guy up there for fun, using this knight, and we're actually gonna be resizing it and then launching with it again, doing another slide launch. Excuse me. Thank you. Oop, no, I don't want it to be too small, because if you make it too small, it might go out of bounds instead of launching you upwards. Which happened during my GDQ run. Excuse me. You want it to be make... Ooh, come on. It just doesn't want to participate today, does it? Come on. Ooh. I believe in you. I believe in you, little guy. You can do this. There we go. That's what's supposed to happen. Perfect. Alright. Then we can collect that guy. And we can collect this fire extinguisher and do one more fire, or one more blueprint over here. And we're going to collect this guy, this cube that will transport us to this next area. If you can guess this constellation, I'm going to give you like 1,000,000 points, because you're not going to know what it is before I tell it to you. Did you guess moon projector? If you don't know what the moon projector is, I might explain it after the run if we have time. And we're bringing this cube with us because we want it to be a specific size when we exit this particular level. And now we're just going to be going through a few different sequences when we grab the cubes. It'll transport us to different sections. And so right here, we're going to be grabbing this guy and then one more fire extinguisher before we leave. As soon as we bounce down here, we're going to wait for the save icon to appear and then turn backwards. Grabbing this fire extinguisher and then resetting checkpoint. That fire extinguisher and fire alarm. This is elevator maze. A lot of people think that elevator maze is like RNG. It's not. we have a specific set path that we go through. Back, left, right, left, back. That pattern allows us to exit the maze the fastest way possible. And this final parking lot is known as what is like a parallax effect, in which we walk to specific triggers that turn the parking lot into walls. It's not a real parking lot, surprise, surprise. And you don't even have to be facing the walls in order to activate them. You can just activate them like that, and then the game puts the room in the middle of the arena, and you can just perfect, boom, like that. Excuse me, thank you. And now we're just going to go straight into the last level, which is called White Space. Ironically, it is in glitch list the longest level, but in pretty much any other glitch category, it's like the shortest level. Right here, we're going to be doing Jungle's Bistro first, and this is a wild level. We're going to be doing a lot of skips and glitches here. A perfect size here, actually. Let's play some piano. Inside this cafe, it is... we're going to be grabbing one more blue chess piece right there. And then we're going to be doing this exact same thing. And then we're going to be using this clinic right here. And we're going to be putting it out of bounds. Like so. And then we're going to walk into the portal that we just put out of bounds. And if we put it in the right spot, it should allow us to go right here. Perfect. Clip back in bounds and collect this guy, this blueprint. And we're going to be turning around. And the reason we're going to be putting back the size 1 after we put that portal through. And the reason put that clinic through the portal. And the reason that works is because at the beginning of this level, there is a scene in which you put a portal into itself, and in order to prevent the character from soft locking the game, when you put the portal into itself, it turns back into size. It turns the player back into size 1. The only like oversight with that is that they don't bother to check what portal you're putting it through. So if you put the clinic through any portal, it'll put you back to size 1, which is the only reason why any of these glitches really work or are functional. You want to restart level, not restart checkpoint. I always forget to do that. And we're going to be going out of bounds one more time. But this time we're going to be bringing this guy with us. Jumping upwards and then going out of bounds through here. We're going to... This is like the last area of the game. We're going to be collecting a few more things here. We're going to be collecting the last blueprint right here. We're going to be collecting the... Where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go? You right here? Oh, you're right there. I see you. Come on. I believe in you. And then we're going to be putting this clinic through this portal right here. So we can go back to size 1. This guy. And now we're going to be collecting one. That's the last chess piece. No, that's a lie. That's not the last chess piece. We have one more chess piece to collect. And then we're going to be collecting the last... the very last constellation. Can we get the swag strat that goes along with it? Heck yes, we can. Look at that. Get the swag shot. We go a little bit out of bounds instead of going through the tunnel itself. Okay, and we're gonna be collecting one last collectible. Oh, nope. Come on. There we go. Perfect. Collecting one last collectible, and that is one last chess piece. It's like right here. Perfect. And now we're gonna be doing something known as prop jumping. And prop jumping, ooh, I don't like that. I'm actually just gonna do the backup actually because that is kind of annoying and we're already crunched on time. I think this is gonna go overestimate RTA, but with that hiccup at the beginning, honestly, that was kind of to be expected. And going to be once again moving, making this guy really, really small, putting it through this portal to come through here. And this time we're going to be we're going to be ending the run with the same glitch that we started with, making this chess piece really, really huge, and then launching out of bounds with it, going through the ceiling. Excuse me, I said going through the ceiling. There we go. And then falling all the way out of bounds with this. This is definitely overestimate RT. We can just pretend my estimate was IGT and move on with our lives. But aside from that, that is Superliminal all collectibles. I'm going to be, essentially what I'm doing right now is I'm falling and I'm going to be activating the end level trigger. There's going to be a fade out, and then a loading screen. At the other side of loading, then it's going to be time. So, again, a wonderful run, a hectic speed run, and something that I absolutely love doing. So, 3, 2, 1, time. 31:24.6 IGT. I imagine like I usually in my head like at a minute and some change for my RTA, so that was probably like a 32, maybe a 33. Regardless, I'm okay with how that run went out, and I am super happy to have shown it off for y'all. If you want a little bit of a cleaner version than what I did right here, I highly recommend going and checking out my GDQ run. It's on the GDQ channel right now. Just search GDQ Ozmourn, you'll find it. And I highly appreciate Meteor Speedruns for having me and for agreeing for me to close this day out with 2 of my favorite runs ever. And before we exit, I do have to go check to make sure this is a valid run. Even though it didn't PB, I do want to say that's valid. Did we collect everything? We did. We collected every single thing. We did not miss anything. And this is one thing that we unlock by getting all the chess pieces. This trophy right here, you can go into like the start menu with a horrible FOV, and then for like collecting all of the actually I'm pretty sure I can show it here. For collecting all of the blueprints, you unlock a few rooms here in the beginning of Dollhouse. One with a special message from Dr. Pierce in this room right here with this guy, and also a room with an avocado. It's beautiful. And not only that, but of course, I'm